Hello again, fellow podcaster, and welcome back to Pod Theory. I am your host, Jason Cercone, and today we are going to talk about 5 reasons why podcasting is such a popular medium. Now, we know podcasting has absolutely exploded over the past few years. I've already mentioned on past episodes that the number of active podcasts has reached over 1 million, and that number is growing by the day. So we know that podcasting has become one of the most popular platforms on the planet. And today I want to share 5 reasons why I think podcasting has become the absolute juggernaut of content media out there today. Number 1, podcasting is fun. It allows you to showcase your personality. It lets you interact with other people like the guests you have on the show, or co-hosts, or other podcasters, as well as folks on social media. If you're utilizing sites like Twitter and Instagram and Facebook and Pinterest and YouTube, all of the popular platforms that will allow you to expose your podcast to a larger audience, you have tremendous opportunities to interact with all of those people on there. So that makes it even more fun when you can not only sit and record and have fun with the people that you're talking with while you make your recording, but after the fact, talking about what people like about your show. It's a blast. It's so much fun to be able to get in with people and just find out what they're thinking and discovering why they listen to your podcast. And in turn, you can listen to theirs and really learn some cool stuff. It gives you a fantastic platform for establishing your authority. You know, if you're a brand looking to build a podcast, your number one priority is maximizing the value of that airtime and making your podcast grow to a bigger audience with each and every episode. It gives you a fantastic platform to show people that you understand the industry that you're in and that your business can help them solve the problems that they have in their world. Number 2, the barriers to entry are relatively easy to overcome when it comes to starting a podcast. Now, in no way, shape, or form am I saying podcasting is easy, but it's pretty simple to get started, especially when you compare it to what it was like back in the day to get a radio show. You had to go to school for that, you had to go through training, and you had to go through a lot of grunt work just to get an opportunity to be on a microphone on a radio show. Now all you need to do is go on Amazon and you can purchase everything you need to start a podcast from your dining room table for a very low price. And the websites that are available for hosting your podcast are relatively low cost. They're pretty easy to set up and they're pretty easy to use. They have tutorials built right in that will show you exactly how to maximize the value of those pages. Learning to use recording and editing software is pretty easy as well. Pretty much anything you want to learn in regards to how to set up your podcast, you're going to be able to find a resource for it. You're listening to this podcast right now, and that's exactly what this podcast is designed to do. Number 3, podcasts allow you to reach people where they're spending a lot of time. Now, the following stats were compiled by musicoomph.com, and I'm going to post the link to this in the show notes so you can check out the full range of statistics that they compiled. But as of July 2020, 70% of the United States population are familiar with the term podcasting. 51% of the United States population have listened to a podcast. 22% of the United States population listen to podcasts on a weekly basis. That number is going to continue to grow because the number of podcasts is growing and the number of specific niches that podcasts are geared towards is continuing to grow as well. So more people are going to start gravitating to this medium as they find podcasts that pique their interest. So you can expect those numbers to continue to grow. And as I said a few minutes ago, podcasts have just recently cracked the 1 million active number. Now, there's a lot of other podcasts. I should stress this as well. There are a lot of podcasts that are out there that are still in existence, but they're no longer active. What I'm talking about is there are over 1 million active podcasts. And as I've stated in the past on Pod Theory, that's still a relatively low number when you consider the number of YouTube channels and websites and blogs that are no longer active on the internet as well. It's a great time to get involved. And as I mentioned, and as the statistics prove, people are spending a lot of time with podcasts. You want to create something that they're going to want to listen to as well. Number 4, for the listener, a podcast is a very passive medium. And what that means is to absorb a podcast, it does not require 100% of your attention like reading or watching a video does. Now, you can be listening to this podcast right now while you're working out, while you're on your commute to or from work, while you're doing tasks around the house, while you're cooking, you name it. You could be doing a number of different things and still listening to this podcast. If you're watching a video or reading an article on a blog, you have to be 100% zeroed into that content in order to absorb it and get the most from it. Podcasts create a great way for people on the go, as we know everyone is, to still get good education, absorb good content, and not worry about having to be 100% dialed in to the specific medium. And finally, number 5, podcast content can be repurposed. The recording that you make for your podcast can also be used for videos, which you could take your actual audio file, turn it into an MP4 and upload it to YouTube. You can use the video of your recording if you are making a video when you do your actual recordings, and you can put that on YouTube as well. The audio content can be cut into clips that you can share on social media posts, and podcast scripts can be transmitted to written posts, so you'll have content for your website and your blogs as well. So there you have it. That's 5 reasons why podcasting is so popular in today's world. And that's going to bring today's episode of Pod Theory to a conclusion. Now, if you'd like to start building the foundation of your podcast, you can pick up my free podcast primer today at jasoncercone.com/podcast primer. Until we meet again next time, this has been Jason Cercone on Pod Theory.